Hey guys, Sarah here. Welcome back to my channel for my third installment of my revamped top fives. This is my top 5 inks. Full disclosure, I couldn't keep inks to one video, so I've actually got, this is top 5 inks, and then next time it's going to be my top 5 kind of more higher maintenance inks. Before I forget, this ink is Ferris Wheel Press Wondrous Winterberry. Is it Royal Ruby? No, it is, yeah. Ferris Wheel Press Wondrous Winterberry, which is a really kind of warm pinky red with a gold shimmer. So, I know in my past 2 videos I've covered up everything, but these are kind of the suggestions, and then I've told you them. Then on here what I've covered up is the inks that I've chosen for it. So, my suggestion of the top 5 ink that absolutely should be included in your stash is a Pilot Iroshizuku ink. They're just beautiful inks. They're really well behaved. They are loved and highly regarded for a reason. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but my Konpeki, I didn't understand it at first why everyone was obsessed with this ink, but now that I've used it a little bit, I kind of get it. It's an incredible blue. It looks beautiful on the page. It's great coming out of any pen that I've put it in. I think it holds its status for a reason, and it's well deserved. So for me, if you're looking at starting an ink collection, I would grab yourself a sample of Pilot Iroshizuku Konpeki. It is an incredible ink. I have loved every Pilot Iroshizuku ink I've used, but you know, this is for me the necessities. I also think I really like having a go-to grey ink. This should give it away because it's one of them here. So one of them was Sailor Urameko Yoi, but I've also included another Pilot Iroshizuku, which is Kirasami, and Diamine Earl Grey. Why I've said a go-to grey ink is I think a lot of us, you know, when you get in this hobby, you don't want to go back to normal pens, but sometimes you still need an ink that is going to be formal, that is, you know, within the family of black. And for me, grey is kind of what fits into that. And these are 3 of my favorites. So I think in your top 5 inks, you should have a go-to grey, and those 3 would be my recommendation. In the same kind of thought process of that, I always like to think of having a fun but formal ink at work because of the type of work I do. So, you know, if people were to see my notes and I'm writing about really traumatic things in a bright colour, it could be seen as inappropriate. It's not to say I don't use bright colours at work, but just certain notes I always keep to what I call like a fun but formal ink. And for me, that always fits into a purple. I think purple is just a great colour to kind of fit into that zone. I'm trying to think of examples, probably too many examples to even consider. Jehoban Possier de Lune comes up, Kuretake Shikon, Birmingham Pen Company Waterfront Dusk, or Alternator Crimson. If you go to the purple burgundy, there's Merlot, Monbotto's Hat going back to the purple, Robert Oster Sydney Lavender. I mean, there's just so many. The Robert Oster the Great Owl. And purple for me is still compassed as formal. It's never going to be seen as inappropriate, I think, in using in a workplace. And that's why I've included it there. Next up, an ink that challenges you. This definitely wouldn't have been included when I first made these videos. It wasn't, but when I first started with fountain pens. But I am really, I guess now, feeling more confident in my knowledge that I'm going for some of these like brighter colours. And to be honest, I am learning so much about inks. I'm trying to pull some out that I just have here that I never would have thought of before. And I'm so happy that I kind of am getting there and thinking about it. My awesome pen friend in the USH sent me this amazing collection of samples that I never would have chosen for myself. And I'm so happy that she did, because I'm now, like, my world has opened up even more. And how awesome is that? Like, I'm experiencing other things and inks that I never would have gone for, falling in love with them, learning different things about my pens, for example. So I just think that is really, really cool. These are some that I've just had available now. But the ink that is challenging me at the moment, but in a good way, challenge is not a negative for me, is Ferris Wheel Press Pumpkin Patch. It is a super bright orange. It is punchy, it is bold, and I'm really enjoying it. I never would have thought that I'd be going for an orange ink like that. And you know what? I'm so happy that I'm exploring it. I had it inked up in September in my Mahjong A1. And I'd put it in another pen to learn even more about it. So for me, within the top 5, an ink that challenges you. Last but not least, maybe it's sentimental, but the ink that made you fall in love. What's the ink that made you fall in love with fountain pens? I want to get another sample or bottle of those. There's a couple links for me because I fell in love with them for a reason, and I've long past used those samples, and I'm drawn to use it again. So, if it's part of your budget or if you really did enjoy it, I would include it. For me, that ink was Pen BBS Strawberry Milkshake. It was something about when I used that ink that I went, oh, I get it. I get why people fall down the rabbit hole of this hobby. That's the ink that did it for me. And I sometimes when I buy ink samples, I'll put it in and I go, oh no, you've already used it. And then I take it out, and every time I regret not purchasing it again. This ink has a sentimental value to me and I want to use it again. So I think if you are tossing and turning going, oh, I shouldn't use the same thing again, hard disagree, absolutely include it in. So that is my 3rd video, but on the next page I did do another top 5 inks, more high maintenance, because I just couldn't narrow it down into one. But I would love to know, what are your top 5 inks? It doesn't have to fit into these categories. That's what I put in, but I really love hearing people's experiences and thoughts. So let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys for video number 4. Bye.